Warning, full spoilers for the episode below. What a perverse family you have, Alicia from Los Angeles. Fear the Walking Dead, a spin-off series that's now operating under the specter of this will all somehow crossover with Walking Dead, went big with its double-episode Season 3 finale, circling the entire seasonal story back to the dam for better or worse. Firstly, the idea of having things tie back to the dam, Daniel, and the idea that a landmark so important and valuable would always bring trouble, was a great idea. As we've seen on both Dead shows, the solution to our heroes' woes is rarely, well, if we can just find a place like X, Y, or Z, we've got it made. Having a secure town, camp, or base makes you a target in the zombie-apocalypse. Dam adds an interesting element to the mix in the sense that it comes with a precious natural resource that everyone needs. Running the dam comes with an enormous amount of power over others. Structurally, the way the season played out, with the dam starting as a separate story and then having the Broke Jaw drought reunite the show's main characters, worked really well. The sheer amount of coincidences, however, after a while, seemed to pile up a bit too precariously, especially in the back half of the season. It was one thing for Madison's family to cross paths with Ophelia again, and then for their story to also enter into Daniel's orbit, but that should have been it. All of a sudden, beginning with the mid-season premiere, nothing that was secret could remain secret. Somehow it had to come out that Nick killed Otto. The story worked itself into a hard pretzel to make that little nugget pop out. Then, in this two-parter, somehow Daniel was able to telepathically realize that Troy had led the herd to the ranch. I understand that he can spot liars, but it's still a huge stretch for him to even think that the herd was somehow man-made or man-driven. It was another instance where the show needed a secret to come out and twisted itself into a bit of an unbelievable balloon animal to get us there. As an ending point, things bad begun, and Sleigh Ride played well overall. Still, smaller moments failed us. Troy's exit from the series felt sudden and less impactful than it should have been given all the time we'd spent with him in Madison. It was right that she was the one to do it, but somehow the moment where she reached that bridge too far wasn't entirely convincing. Granted, we don't readily know the fate of anyone here. No one's death or survival, other than Madison's, is a guarantee. The dam got blown up and everyone's dangling in limbo now, including Troy. The explosion didn't directly kill anyone on top of it or below it, so as impressive a spectacle as it was, with okay VFX for TV, there was an emptiness to it since it didn't seem to really come with a cost other than removing a big location from the game board and making an enemy out of Proctor John and his biker gang. If you look at these two episodes from afar, they're sound.its. When you start digging in though, the seams don't quite hold. Alicia, in another coincidence that led to a reunion, crossed paths with Proctor John, and a random James Le Gros, found her own way to the dam in the company of the attackers. She was literally on her own, having purposefully separated herself from Madison, and she still got swallowed back up into the main plot. It's understandable that you'd want and need for your main characters to be together, but one of Fear's strengths has also been one of its undercutting weaknesses. Fear, even with a family at the center of it, has never had an intact, cooperating set of protagonists. The blended family, in its own right, was a mess, and then when you mixed in the Salazars and Strand, everything was a fight. As much as two characters could bond and gel, they could also bicker and betray. Like with what Strand did here with the dam. And there's value in that. I like how this season has kept Daniel and the danger he can truly be at arm's length. This show, and this season especially, has been about strange bedfellows, frenemies, and basically making peace with your adversary. Even if they've inadvertently killed someone you love. What this also means is that every attempt the show makes to set these very different characters on their own path winds up collapsing in itself, so they all wind up coming back together despite their narrative need to spend serious time apart. I suspect that's what the outset of Season 4 holds for us. Everyone, now with more issues than ever, will find their way back to one another, and you'll be able to feel the bloat when they do. Daniel will have survived being shot in the freaking face by Strand. Madison and Nick will have to look each other in the eye after she walked off under little protest during his suicidal standoff. Everyone will have to process Strand trying to hand the dam to Proctor John. And if Troy survives. As formidable as this finale felt, it basically just worked to scatter everyone again. Proctor John is an intriguing big bad for the series, and his idea to brutally create a trade route from California to Texas gives him a sense of majesty and ambition that only Negan comes close to rivaling. He also has a cool and calm demeanor, but it's not so casual that you wind up liking him, which is good. We're at the point now where we have to play the speculation game with regards to the crossover. Could he be the key? What with his talk of Houston, of course, we don't know if we're going to be seeing a Fear character years later on Walking Dead or a Walking Dead character in some past adventure on Fear. We just know that there will be a character connection. Will it be an important and impactful character or someone like Taka, who walked off with Mad Dog at the end of this finale after helping save Nick with his sniper rifle? There are plenty of ways this crossover could go, ranging from magnificent to meaningless. The most effective parts of this finale were Madison's dreams of having everyone around her both alive and dead. They were either cold gravestones or sitting around a table at Christmas dinner. Her quest to keep her children safe and by her side never could catch hold, and so her ongoing struggle to find security became the show's most prevalent theme. The places she'd find would get overrun. Her kids would take off. She couldn't successfully corral anyone around her. The shot of her floating down in the debris-filled water, where she dreamed, one final time, of Travis, was a very moving visual.